This video will be a tutorial on how to use the Casio FX300 ES Plus to perform two variable statistics. We'll be using the variables X and Y, and we can see those right here. First, we need to turn on the calculator, and then we will need to select the mode by pressing the mode button. We want to go into statistics, so we'll press 2, and that'll select statistics mode. We then have a choice of what type of statistics we're going to do. We're going to deal with two variable statistics, so we'll select 2 again, which will put us into A plus BX. Take note that it's A plus BX because A will be your intercept and B will be your slope. We are now given a table that we can enter our data into. So we will enter our first piece of data, 91. We will then press equals, and that will get us ready to enter our next piece of data, 58. So we will continue doing that, press equal, and continue on until we have entered all of the X values. Once we've entered all the X values, we'll use the little directional pad to move to the right and then up to the top of the Y column. We can now enter our Y values, starting with 43, and use the same method of pressing equals in between each of those until we have all of our data values entered. Now that we have all the data values entered, we'll press the AC button or all clear button. It seems counterintuitive, but by pressing that button, it locks the data into the calculator. If you try to do anything else, it won't accept the data. We will now use the Shift button, which is the top left button on the calculator, and 1. That'll get us into the stat mode. As you can see above the 1 button, there's a little stat. We now can choose what type of variables we want to get out of it. We're first going to select the number 3, which is going to take us to the sum or summations. We now can select the individual variable that we'd like to pull. I moved over to the calculator so we can see what the actual values will be. And we're just going to select these individually. So we started with 1, which is the sum of x squared. And then we have to go back into that mode again by doing Shift Stat. And it gives us the options again. We choose sum, and we choose the next type, which is the sum of x. And we can keep doing that every time we have to push it in. Every time we enter the sum and choose our number, we have to hit equals to have us display that new value. And we go through this numerous times to get the different values that it will show. When we are done with the summations, we can go to the variable section, so that's number 4. So when we press 4, that will give us some options for n and means and standard deviations. And we just press the number associated with each of those. But again, we have to go back through the process, Shift 1 for stat, var, so 4 for variable, and then select the value that we want so it can show it to us. Don't forget to press equals afterwards so that we'll actually display the value you are looking for. Once we are done with all those variables, we can go in again using shift and 1 to get to stat, and we will select 5, which is reg or regression. And by pressing A, B, or R, we can get the slope, the intercept, or the correlation coefficient. Now you may notice that A and B are opposite on this as opposed to what we see on the sheet in front of us. And that's because with the Casio, they do the intercept and then the slope, whereas for some other calculators, they do slope and then intercept. Once we have looked at those values for A, B, and R, we are all done with what we need to do. We can just press AC to clear the screen, press the mode button, and choose 1 for computation. You can see that stat disappeared off the screen and math showed up again, and then we can turn off the calculator. Thank you and have a wonderful day.